I'm cool, so cool. Everybody wishes they were like me, 'cause I'm cool, so cool. Kinda kooky, but interesting. Just wait till they see me. Wait till they see me. I'm gonna be famous. Gonna be famous. Just wait till they see me. Wait till they see me. Online or on telly. 'Cause I'm cool. Yeah, so cool. Everybody wishes that they were like me. 'Cause I'm cool. I'm so cool. I can't even be bothered to stand up. 'Cause I'm cool. Yeah, I'm so cool. It hurts in the morning when I wake up and remember I'm cool.
There was I, digging a hole, 2 meters wide it was, and it was me and Terry. Now what was we supposed to do? The foreman said, keep your social distance, but the hole measured 2 by 2. Well, Terry must be having a laugh, trying to protect himself with a scarf. I said, we're stuck in a hole, can't live off the dole. I don't know why, we're risking life and limb to build a building nobody can occupy. Well, Terry turns to me, says, Bernie mate, I must admit I'm feeling peaky, and I think I'm coming down. Off goes he, goes up to his family on the tube across the town. And the foreman says to me, keep propping up the false economy. 'Cause we're stuck in a hole, everyone's on the dole, and that's why you're risking life and limb to build a building nobody can occupy. Then the foreman, well, he scratches his noggin there and he suddenly says, this is madness, he says. All these people being forced to act like there isn't a global pandemic happening. Go home to your families and just pray you haven't already caught anything, he says. Well, me and Terry didn't need telling twice. We'll get out of here, one thing's clear. We should be at home, all tucked up safe and sound with our precious family, and we was overjoyed. 'Cause I'm really quite keen to be in quarantine rather than be employed. That's what we said to the foreman. He said, you know the rules, 2 meters. Me and Terry stuck down that hole. Well, yup. Oh, yeah, now. Ooh. Come with me, just bring a change of kegs, yo. We can get a meal deal at Tesco Metro. Come with me, we'll fly on EasyJet. J'aime le cinéma, j'aime la baguette. Oh, Yup. Ah. Yup. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yup. Come with me. You might need your glasses. Paid the £7 for speedy boarding passes. Come with me. I speak fluent Greek. J'ai 12 ans et j'aime beaucoup les pique-niques. Oh, well. Yup. 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 Ah. Ah. Yeah, yup. Ah. 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 This is a bonus song written in 9 minutes, which is far too long considering the lack of content in it. It's a bonus song. Yeah. Hello there. Oh, hang on. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's Pat there with some applause. Thank you. And his dog. Thank you.
Must you?
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. It's a good high energy start to the show. Hello and welcome to a brand new week. It's good to be here. Wonderful news I woke up to this morning. A quick Google told me that my net worth is $3 million, which is wonderful news. I had no idea. I also woke up to a text message saying I was £16 overdrawn and that fees would be applied to my unauthorised overdraft. So hard to know which to believe. Can't believe anything you read these days, can you? Speaking of which, I was going to talk about Priti Patel, but you know what? I want to bring on, and I still haven't done him a jingle, but I had the idea for it this morning, and that's got to count for something, hasn't it? It's the one and only Mick Wright. You definitely need some walk-on music, Mick. I'm sorry, that's terrible.
Yes. Good morning. The lack of jingle the thought does not count.
Does it
That's a
not?
lie you were told when you were young. That it's the thought that counts.
Okay.
It does not.
What if
we live in a brutal capitalist system, Jake.
Okay, well, what if I were to sellotape £2 coins inside a birthday card and give you that instead?
Yes, that would be good.
Because that's something
good.
I did at school.
That's how you make journalism pay now.
What I wanted to ask you, and we never talk when we're not doing this, which is really stupid.
We have brief email interactions?
Yeah.
This is true.
What genre or style of music would you like for a jingle?
Ooh, that's interesting. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the hardest possible one for me to have to do. Klezmer music. No.
Please! I love klezmer music. It's like my favourite.
Some kind of 90s ambient.
No, it's klezmer the whole way. That's what we're having.
Okay, good.
So, look, I literally just read this story about Priti Patel, who's proposing to follow Denmark's lead on immigration and send immigrants for processing overseas, which sounds like a really good idea because what happens in Rwanda tends to stay in Rwanda. Denmark are proposing Rwanda. And I'm confident that that's the sort of place where we would uphold those high standards of welfare that innocent people enjoy so much in places like Yarl's Wood and Napier Barracks in Folkestone. And I was wondering, is there, this is not that. And you wrote a very good piece in your brokenbottleboy.substack.com newsletter this morning about the dead cat fallacy and how it's deployed too often as people claiming something's a dead cat moment.
Yeah, I mean,
can you define a dead cat thing first for anyone who doesn't?
Well, I mean, yes. Boris Johnson actually wrote about the dead cat strategy when he just after he'd won the his second London mayoral race, and it comes from who I described, Lytton Crosby, who I described as an animated Antipodean bin bag of entrails this morning. But he's a political strategist who's helped the Tory party over many years, as well as right-wing parties in his native Australia. And basically, Boris Johnson wrote in an article for the Telegraph in 2013 what dead catting is. So he says, let's suppose you're losing an argument, the facts are overwhelmingly against you, and the more people focus on the reality, the worse it is for you in your case. Your best bet in these circumstances is to perform a manoeuvre that a great campaigner describes as throwing a dead cat on the table, mate. There is one thing that's absolutely certain about throwing a dead cat on the dining table, and I don't mean people will be outraged, alarmed, and disgusted, although that's true, it's irrelevant. The key point, says my Australian friend, Mr. Crosby, is that everyone will shout, geez, mate, there's a dead cat on the table. In other words, they'll be talking about the dead cat, the thing you want them to talk about, and they will not be talking about the issue that's been causing you so much grief.
There we go.
So, yes.
So, but it's often deployed, isn't it? People say, oh, that's a dead cat moment, and it isn't, you're saying.
Yeah, since this became, I mean, so he wrote about it in 2013, and around the 2015 election, there was a lot of talk about Crosby's advice to Cameron's Tories using dead cat moments throughout that campaign. And it's certainly true that they did, and Boris Johnson has done in the past, but not every story is a dead cat. So, people immediately started to say that about the Hancock affair coming out.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that. It's not a dead cat moment. My view on it has been, since it hit the Sun front page on Friday, was that it's very convenient and useful for Boris Johnson, who had wanted to get shot of Hancock anyway, and is now able to get shot of him without having to look like he's listening to Dominic Cummings. But it's not a dead cat moment because this government's not that interested in distracting from the bad news or news that is inconvenient to them, because it hasn't affected their polling very much. And a lot of stories that we're told consistently by Westminster commentators are, they're going to change the game, or he won't get away with it this time. They don't change the game, and he does get away with it this time.
Yes.
So,
it sort of feels a little bit like EastEnders in that respect. In that it always just resets, doesn't it? Nothing really changes. Look,
yeah, every time Boris Johnson falls in the canal, he comes back again later. The dirty den of British politics.
Look, I have got a jingle for Hancock's. Here we go.
Hancock's final hour.
There we go. Thank you very much. It looked to me, that footage of, like, when you used to pretend to canoodle at school and you go, ooh, like that. It looked like that to me.
Yes. It was deeply, the very definition of unerotic.
It was very troubling. I mean, obviously, one feels for his family more than anyone. He's got kids going to school. He has a wife. Well, he had a wife.
Still does.
Yeah.
At the time of recording,
who's been hounded by the press. It's a curious stance, isn't it, to be a sort of moral arbiter, saying, "Look at this dastardly man," and then pursue an innocent woman.
Yeah, and they do stuff like constantly take pictures of her hand and go, "See, she's still wearing her wedding ring." And look how dignified she is, as we send reporters and photographers to stand outside her house and shout at her.
Yeah. There was an interesting sort of development over the weekend. I glanced at the papers. I was not as forensic as you are, and everybody should watch your Twitch stream, I suspect, at 1:00 today.
Yes, indeed.
Everybody should watch. I'm going to try and watch that today. I never watch that. I got to watch that. In fact, hang on. I'm going to do. Sorry, we've got a moment.
He's making a note.
Oh, I can't make it work. Never mind. I was going to set myself a reminder. Anyway.
Sorry, I'll just harangue you on Twitter to remind you.
Okay, fine. Glancing at the papers in a very cursory way, I felt like a new narrative was already being sort of spun out, which is this idea that Hancock is going to move in with Scola D'Angelo. And it was almost like a hello piece of kind of starry-eyed lovers move in together to begin an exciting new life.
Yeah, I mean, the briefings from his friends, which I believe to be Matt Hancock and various humorous mustaches and different hats, is that it's a love match. I would say give it 2 to 3 months, and then we get the Matt Hancock Confesses All Sunday supplement piece.
Okay.
About how deeply sorry he is for what he did, but how love is hard to fight and all that kind of thing.
Nice.
And I wouldn't put it past him to be back in cabinet at some point. Got to remember, Priti Patel was sacked from cabinet for running her own independent foreign policy. Popping over to Israel to talk to the Israelis about foreign policy completely off the books. She's back in there. Gavin Williamson left cabinet for apparently leaking national security secrets. He's back in government. So the post-shame government environment means it could well happen that he returns at some point. And certainly Boris Johnson's left the door open.
And no one really cares, do they? I mean, this is the problem. I think people, who've been affected by coronavirus were deeply offended by his behaviour in terms of social distancing. But actually, the other aspects of that, how was this woman employed? What is her role? And
what about her brother, whose company has had large NHS contracts? What about the publican who happens to be nicely close friends with Matt Hancock, who got a massive contract for materials that ended up not being actually usable?
Yeah. Nobody cares. How do we make people care, Mick?
Well, one of the reasons that people don't care, and I get frustrated about this quite a lot, is journalists say, well, people in Bromley or Batley or wherever, name 3 places that have the same first letter. But they don't care. And actually, that should be a deep shame for journalists to say that. As individuals, that should be a deep shame. They should say, well, actually, it's pathetic that we in our roles cannot make these stories interesting. There's a really annoying glib thing that Matt Chorley says on his Times radio show every morning. He says, oh, it's politics without the boring bits. And I'm like, no, really, if you're any good at your job, you can make anything fascinating. Look at the FT, which has done incredible work on the Lex Greensill stuff, right? The idea of this is really complicated financial stuff, but they reported that in a very consumable way that anybody could understand. It's possible to make anything in politics interesting if you want to, but the reality is it's not the jobs of particularly tabloid journalists to make this stuff interesting. It's their jobs to say, oh, that's just politics and that's boring, because they don't want people to be engaged.
No.
Not really. It doesn't serve their proprietors well to do that.
No, that wouldn't do at all, would it? Well, it'll be fun to see. I mean, Sajid Javid's back, and that's great because it always reminds me of the mouse robot in Star Wars. Sajid.
They're calling him like the son of put the thing today about how he's a superstar and a working class hero and all this kind of stuff. It's absolutely farcical. And as someone said yesterday, I wish I could credit them. There was a good tweet about this. Oh no, I know who it was. It was Frances, who writes for The Guardian. She said that she's really fed up of this thing of like, oh, it's brilliant, a bus driver's son in power, like in the same way that Sadiq Khan is a bus driver's son. Well, it only matters if a bus driver's son gets into power and makes things better for people who are still bus drivers and bus drivers' sons. Otherwise, it's just
just gleefully leaving all of that behind.
It's just marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Mick, thank you so much for being here. People should tune into your Twitch stream at 1:00. Is it Broken Bottle Boy? Twitch.tv/Broken Bottle Boy?
Yes, it is indeed, yes.
Fabulous brand synergy. And people should subscribe to your newsletter. You can get it for free, but you get more stuff if you actually pay the money. But
pony up. And it helps keep me in newspapers and antidepressants.
That's all you need. Yes, it's brokenbottleboy.substack.com, and do follow him on Twitter. It's at brokenbottleboy. Thank you so much for being here. I promise you're going to have the klezmer jingle of your life next week.
We will see.
Oh, before you go, are you a fan of Martin Roberts, the host of Homes Under the Hammer?
I'm familiar. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of him. I'm certainly familiar with him.
I got some spectacular news about him coming up. All the important stories.
I will jump over to YouTube and continue to.
Of course you will.
From there.
Brilliant. We'll see you there. Thank you so much, Mick.
See you later.
We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. That was Mick Wright. In the meantime, Pat's been in touch. Hey there, first-time listener, long-time caller. Has anyone seen this? I found an advert in a mid-'80s sci-fi magazine for a Japanese import. It's the John Holmes Interstellar Conflicts, brackets, any similarity to the Star Wars franchise is purely coincidental and is not to be inferred, close brackets. Oh! Yeah, I think I did see something about that on the internet. He says, the John in this amazing set is all silver with light-up eyes, all sorts of laser blasters and a spinning crotch rotor. I think that's model on real life. Also in the box are his robot friends, Far2D2 and C-through-P. Oh, what? If anyone has one of these super rare sets, I will swap my whole collection for it. Yours, hopefully, Pat. Yeah, well, I've got a bone to pick with John Holmes. His controversy for coins has landed me in hot water with the tubes. Hi, Not Today. We've reviewed your appeal for the following content. Video, Making Not Today, 21/6/23 with John Holmes. We reviewed your content carefully. This is off of the tubes. And confirmed that it violates our medical misinformation policy. We know this is probably disappointing news, but it's our job to make sure that the tubes is a safe place for all. I'm saying this because presumably some algorithm has automatically transcribed everything I've said and that John Holmes said from last Wednesday's live stream and deemed it to be filled with medical misinformation. It says, we won't be putting your content back up on the tubes. If your appeal was for a warning, you'll not be given another warning in the future. So that's it. That's my first and final warning, not to give medical misinformation, which if anyone took what I was saying as being medical information, I will just make the point. There are a lot of videos still on YouTube of people drinking their own aged urine, which is something I would not endorse medically. But they've been up for ages. Unbelievable, isn't it? It's one rule for everybody else and one rule for... I don't really know what I'm saying. But speaking of rules that apply for something... Listen. We need to talk about Martin Roberts. He's someone that I feel... we need to extend quite a lot of care and concern towards. You know, I'm not here to mock this guy. I'm simply here to say, are you okay, Martin? You know what? You're doing just fine. Just relax. This came out on the 21st of June. He posted this, and I'm going to share it in its entirety with you. Here we are.
Hey, Martin here. I need your help. I'm just sitting outside the house filming in Coventry. And you know what? I'm a bit cheesed off. It's been a really rough few weeks. And I've just heard that Strictly, which is something I would absolutely love to do, won't even have a phone call with me to see if I might be somebody who might be suitable for Strictly. And it is something that I would love to do, and not even offering me the chance to have a quick conversation and point out the fact that I haven't got many years left in me. My body is falling apart. The guarantee is running out on various bits and pieces, and I am running out of chances to do something that I would love to do, and my daughter would love me to do, and I think I'd be really fun at. So can we start some kind of a campaign? This is probably totally wrong, and I shouldn't be asking. But can we get a groundswell? Can anyone be bothered to actually try and do something? Let's just Martin for Strictly. Let's do a hashtag Martin for Strictly, and see if we can just at least get me somewhere down the line to have a chance to do this. Because loads of people seem to think they'd quite enjoy me on it. And I'd certainly love to give it a chance. I've got some ghosts to do with dancing, which I've got to try and, exercise. All will be revealed. But yeah, so sorry to ask and all that, but I'm a bit hacked off, really. So whatever you can do to help, and if you happen to be from Strictly, give me a chance. Just to at least tell you what I'd like to do. Okay, that would be really great. Seriously, thanks for any help you can give me.
Seriously, you're welcome, Martin. You're okay, hun. We're all okay, but literally, and I don't use that word unless it is literal, just had news that there's a COVID case at my child's school, and I need to go and get him, like, now. So, bye. I'll keep you posted on the Twitter. I'm sure he's fine. Barney says, this is a call to arms. You must write a musical about how great Martin would be on Strictly. Oh, that's a really good idea. I might have a go at that. Thanks again to Mick Wright. Go and subscribe. brokenbottleboy.substack.com. It's a fantastic read. Even just the free stuff is brilliant. You guys have a good day. And take care of yourselves out there. This is not over, is it? Bye, loves.
This has been a Swanburst Media production.